That's right. It's the Joes back again. Your main man on the mic, Ollie, along with my main man here, Dave, Superflex Allen. Can you smell what the Joes are cooking, Dave? Can you smell them?
Hey, yeah, look, smells like we're cooking something good today,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Cooking
Hey,
something
hey,
good.
hey. It's Valentine's Day. We got some love. We got some hate. We got some things to talk about. So we definitely putting some things in the pot and want to thank everybody, as always, for coming back again and taking a listen. Got a great show for you guys today. And, what we want to do is just kind of clear up some things on some players we're having some questions about going into this season. There's so many that you could possibly bring up, but we got a few we want to discuss here. And hey, listen, as always, we ask you guys to like the video, comment, subscribe, leave comments here on Facebook. I'm sorry, on YouTube. We'll respond to those as quickly as we can. We are also on Instagram at the Average Joe's Fantasy Football _ between each word, and the Average Joe's Fantasy Football Podcast on Facebook. So we'd love to interact with you guys. Please shoot us any questions you have, any thoughts. We are here to help. So what's going on, Dave, man? How was your week?
Good week. It's been a good week, man. It's been different without. I feel like I say it every
Yeah.
time, but different without football. Been trying to watch the AAFL. I think that's what it's
Yeah,
called.
yeah, yeah. I was going to ask you about that. I've seen a couple leagues pop out from the AAF or whatever it is called. And I honestly, I don't know. I didn't watch the first week. I didn't watch. I am interested in just maybe. I don't know how you would kind of classify it. It's almost like just something to fill the time. It's almost like another sitcom I might watch every now and again. But
Yeah.
I'm not overly interested in knowing the players and getting a team and watching them every week and following it. It almost feels kind of good to have just a couple of months off. Now I know once we get to about June, I'm going to start tweaking. I need my football, right? But right
Right.
now, the break don't feel so bad. How do you feel about it? Are you missing football?
Uh, I'm actually kind of right there with you. You still, I think the whole being in dynasty,
Yeah,
the off season, you still got
right.
trades or what have you going on. So that kind of is
Fills
my
the
hit.
void a little. Yeah,
It's just enough right now. Yeah, I kind of tuned into it like for a drive, and I was just like, yeah, like I'm fine.
right.
It's nothing great. I was
Yeah,
actually talking to a buddy, and they were thinking that this might be the league where the NFL kind of puts rules in place in this league as like a test. It's like
right.
the test dummy league, and we'll see if we can put them in the NFL, whatever. But
Yeah, people
it's all
likened it
right.
to the G League for the NBA, where
Right,
maybe even you start to see players, if this is successful. We've seen this kind of a thing before with the XFL. They had some gimmicks and things of that nature. But perhaps people who want to leave college early, if they'll allow that kind of a thing, and you want to go pro, so to speak, you can go to the AAF and test your stuff out there for a year until you're ready. I don't know. I can possibly see it, working out. Maybe a really short season, 2 months, something like that. They play 5 or 6
yeah,
games. I don't want. As silly as it sounds for someone who's into, podcasts and fantasy football, I don't want football year round. And maybe because a couple of my redraft teams just kind of suck. Maybe I was just ready for that to be done. I don't know, but
Take a look at this, man.
yeah, but I was just the break. Like you said, having Dynasty, I would always definitely suggest for you listeners out there, if you haven't tried Dynasty, get at least one Dynasty team. It is really fun in the off season to do some of the trading and draft picks and things of that nature. And you have to, look forward to the draft. You know what I mean? We're going to do some talking about some of the people coming out in the draft here soon. We're going to have some podcasts coming up on that, so please stay tuned. Hopefully have some inside information for you guys, and maybe give you a leg up, not only in your dynasty draft, but also possibly in the redraft. There's always a couple of rookies that come right out the gate and have a positive impact on their team and are fantasy viable. So we'll be talking about that. Also, we wanted to mention to you, we do have the Listener League. coming out. We have several slots taken. We are still looking for several people, so if you're interested in being in the listener league, there will be some awesome prizes that come out of that. Please drop your name in comments and email. You can hit us up again on here on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and soon we'll be, we do have an email. Haven't put that out much yet, but I'll be putting that out a little bit more, so you guys can hit us up through email. So, with that having been said, man, I'm overall doing okay. Actually, the house is a little sick, man. The wife has been sick. This morning, I had to take her 2 o'clock in the morning. 2 o'clock in the morning, I had to take her to urgent care. She had the flu and just running a high fever and all that great stuff.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
A little throwing up here, a little sweats and coughing and wheezing and whatnot. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm half asleep. I'm like, okay, babe, can we just like wait till like 6? And then the song and dance really turned on. Really.
yeah, I imagine.
Then she coughed a little bit harder, started rolling around on the floor. I'm like, okay, let's go.
Oh, this sounds serious. Let's go ahead and take care of this.
Right, yeah, no, this is getting worse by the minute. So no, by 2:30 we were out the door. But no, we went there. She was positive for the flu, so we got her quarantined. But neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and talk about some fantasy football. We got 5 players today, maybe a couple of honorable mentions that we're perplexed with, either their situation, what we've seen from them last year, going into next year. Just don't know how to draft them, don't know how to trade for them. Just got some ideas. Want to maybe see if we can help each other clear it up, and maybe this will help you guys out as well. So, Dave, man, I'll let you go ahead and start off. Who's your guy? Who's your first person you want to talk about?
Yeah, so number one for me, I think he's probably the talk of the town.
Yeah.
For NFL and for fantasy, Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
And it's just, he's got 2 years, past 2 years, well, probably 3 or 4 years, first round guy automatically, if not the number one receiver off the board, with great reason. And, he's going to be 30. Or he is 30 now.
I think he's coming up
31.
On 31. When listen to the footballers, they actually brought it up. He's sneaky old. I mean, he's in that declining range for a wide receiver. Now, he's super great. And even if he declines a little bit, he's still probably top 5 if he was on the Steelers.
On the Steelers, right. Exactly. Yeah, and I was listening to somebody on I think it was on the NFL Network. They were speaking. Antonio Brown is only, he's never caught a touchdown pass from anyone other than Big Ben. And of course, when you hear that at first, you're like, well, obviously he only played for the Steelers. But then you think about it, it's like, well, they've had backups. Big Ben hasn't played every game, and no other person has thrown Antonio a touchdown. And that's just how that's wild. It's wild to think about. And then like you said, he's 31. He's only going to get slower. Not saying that he'll just be trotting out there, but he's just getting slower. His measurables aren't the best. 5'10", 186. So he's not a big guy.
Yeah, I always wondered was he a product of, again, they've had, and you can't really say that they've had different offensive coordinators. He's always been good. Is he a product though of being with possibly a Hall of Fame quarterback in Big Ben?
Right.
I mean, if you're talking about possibly putting Eli Manning in, you have to put Big Ben a step above him. And is he a product? I mean, again, like I say, his measurables, and measurables don't always tell the story. They really don't. You can have a guy like Barry Sanders, a little small dude that's, a beast. So you can't say because he's not 6'3" and 215 pounds, he's no good. But is he a product of that relationship with Big Ben, where Big Ben just targets him numerous times throughout the game? If he goes somewhere else, will he get that same attention? Or I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see where he lands. A lot of talk about San Francisco or whatnot. Obviously, as a 49ers fan, I guess I wouldn't mind seeing that. We need a number one, definitely. But he's not the prototypical guy that I would like. I would like someone 6'3", 6'4", another Terrell Owens, another Julio Jones. That's kind of where you want to go. But I don't know. Yeah, so I guess the question is, in Dynasty, let's talk about Dynasty first. If you want to acquire him, this is kind of a buy low time. Are you still seeing premiums for him out there, still first rounders, or How much? What would it take to get this guy?
Yeah, that's tough to give up a first rounder. I mean, that the situation with Antonio Brown right now is if you have him, you should just hold on to him because the likelihood of you getting any kind of remote good value, people are going to low ball for Antonio Brown right now. I don't know where he's at. It's not worth getting rid of him. Right. Now, if you're buying him, I personally, I'm not giving a first rounder for AB right now just because, you don't know where he's going to go. And then there's not many teams he goes to that make me say, okay, yes, he's still a first rounder. There's not many of those teams. So, if I'm just thinking draft pick, he's around 2 and maybe, a quality up and coming young receiver, maybe around 2 and a Kirk maybe, if he lands in the right spot, I would be okay with Christian Kirk in around 2 for AB.
Would you draft him second round of a redraft?
It would be late second round for me. It would be, and like you said, it's a redraft. So, the age isn't necessarily a big factor. So he's definitely out of the first round. He's not, I'm not taking first round anymore. And if I'm back in second round, I'm glancing. I think you still have to just because of his body of work, what he's done. You can't completely write him off.
This is going to come as a shock and a surprise. Kind of a switch of roles here from last year, from no Tonio to where I'm at now. I don't know if I even want him second round. He would have to be a second round wide receiver. A lot of times, unless you go wide receiver would be it's going to be your top number one receiver. And I'm not sure if I feel comfortable with him. A, moving teams. B, and again, I listen to the footballers a lot, and I don't mind repeating sometimes what they say. It takes receivers typically 2 years to get acclimated to a new system. Receivers who are traded or go to a new team don't automatically mean they're going to be successful because they've been successful someplace else. So could it take him a year to get chemistry with a new quarterback, with a new system, and all that great stuff? Possibly, yeah. I mean, then couple that with the fact that there is an investigation right now into some things with him.
Yeah,
he may get a suspension.
Right. Yeah. He's got a lot going. He's got a lot going on.
Yeah. A lot of his own doing too.
Yeah. It's enough. It is enough to keep you away. I'm on board with you, honestly. I mean, for me personally, I don't really want him. Like he's gonna have to fall pretty low for me to say, it would have to be a steal. Like it would have to be so. And the reason I said round 2, when I say late, I'm talking like
on the turn.
I'm on the turn. Yeah, like if I get him, I'm picking in the next 2 turns to help me out on that pitch. So. Yeah, AB is taking a hit.
Yeah, I'm thinking for me, and this might be a little bit because he won't be there. So that means I won't be drafting him. But yeah, on the turn of the 3rd to 4th. By that time, you've gotten typically, unless you're one of the people who go for a tight end first or maybe a quarterback, you've gotten your wide receiver core and you've gotten your running back core pretty set. And I can go for him as a number too because you can recover. They say a lot that you don't win your league in the first couple of picks. You can't win it there unless you have a Todd Gurley who has a ridiculously year like he did a couple years ago. But you can certainly lose it. Those first 2 picks have got to be solid, and that is not as highlighted significantly with me because. In my redraft leagues, even though I had pretty good teams overall, they were torpedoed by Leonard Fournette. In a couple of my redraft leagues, I picked really late in both of them, around 9, 10, 11, and I picked Leonard Fournette twice, and he just killed. I mean, you just don't recover typically unless you caught a steal someplace from losing that first couple of picks. So they have to be super solid. Too many questions for AB. I'm saying stay away, and I think that Dave is saying the same thing.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, one person you shouldn't stay away from is Melvin Gordon. So I want to talk real quickly before we jump to my first guy about Melvin Gordon. My man here, he got me a little confused. Now, last year we had a trade Melvin Gordon, and I got Melvin Gordon, and things was going really well for my man there, having a really great season out there in San Diego. And I thought me and Dave from now on would be on the same page with Mel, and seems like we're not. You turned down a trade this week involving Melvin Gordon, and I thought it was pretty sensible. I thought it was pretty reasonable, pretty fair. Why'd you turn that trade down? Tell us what the trade was involving, and then tell us why you turned it down.
Yeah, so the trade was I was offered Melvin Gordon, Mark Ingram, the rookie, 2019 round one, 10th pick, rookie pick, first round, and a 12th pick, first round, rookie pick, for James Conner, Derrick Henry, and the 3rd overall rookie pick.
I would have taken that and thought I stole something. Like, I got to run fast. They may veto this. Is this a veto-less league? That was an awesome trade, man. Why'd you turn it down?
So I turned it. My thought process was, okay, if I give up two, in my opinion, two bell cow backs. So I've got Derrick Henry and James Conner, who really don't have anybody that's battling them for carry.
I don't know, man. Derrick Henry is a big question mark. He's not on my list, but he should be.
Yeah, he is. No, and that's going to be something interesting to look at with the new coordinator coming in, and what happens with Deion Lewis. So I believe should move on, but neither here nor there. Yeah, so that was my thought process with those guys, and then I'm thinking with AD leaving, we might see a lot more usage of Conner. He was used a lot last year, but even more, which I'm actually on two sides of that, and I'll tell you the second part in a minute. But then I looked at, Melvin Gordon is fantastic. You can't say enough about about Melvin. You just can't. But I'm thinking if I get Melvin, I'm giving up two who I believe two bell cows. I'm getting Melvin, and then I'm getting Mark Ingram, whom I don't know, is he going to stay with the Saints? Is he going to go somewhere and be a starter? Is he going to go somewhere else and be, at a timeshare and not be as good? So it's just too many ifs around the mark. And then I was also giving up my 3rd overall pick. Now, had he been giving me the 3rd and I was giving him the 10 and 12, we could have done that. Because I can still, if Mark doesn't work out, cool. I should be able to make it up with the 3rd overall rookie pick that I made. But I felt like I was losing more. Melvin Gordon didn't give me enough equity with what I was giving for my team and my situation in that trade.
I liked it a lot. I mean, I can't say that enough. And again, I know those are 2 late round picks, but we've seen numerous times throughout some of these drafts. Not talking about Saquon Barkley, which was pretty much a lock and guarantee, but you never know. It could be the guy that picked 10th, or a guy that's undrafted, a guy that's in the 3rd round. That does it. I always like to look at I'm trying to have his name. Last name was Davis. Played for the Broncos back on their champion. Terrell Davis.
Terrell?
Yeah, he was a 6th round pick, right? Like, no one seen Terrell Davis coming. It's almost luck, and the situation that these guys fall into sometimes. And I don't know. But no, it sounds like you're definitely on track there. We got some question marks surrounding Mark Ingram. I personally think that the Saints are going to wise up and go with what they know. Mark Ingram fits their program. He fits what they want to do. He doesn't have to bring someone new in for a new learning curve and learn the playbook. And they have a championship team right now. They should have been there, as everyone knows. We're not going to get into that whole deal with the refs on that, but they should have likely been in the championship. And Drew Brees isn't getting any younger. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know running backs you can kind of plug and play sometimes, but if you have a guy that works with your system, you got another year, maybe 2, and then Drew has to hang it up, right?
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think they'll bring him back. And then Derrick Henry, who I've traded for. I gave up a lot to get Derrick Henry, so I definitely understand the upside you see in him. I hope they give him an opportunity to be the bell cow back there as well, and that's why I traded so much. I think they will give him the opportunity, but it's a small sample size. Had a few good
Yeah.
games, and you never quite know. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and talk about my first guy, man. We're running 20 minutes, and I haven't even gotten my first guy yet. My first guy is Nick Chubb. This is another guy that's in the news a lot right now because the Browns just picked up Kareem Hunt. You can almost go interchangeable there with those two guys as far as the question marks are concerned. Nick Chubb came on the end of last year. Once they got rid of Carlos Hyde, he seemed like he was going to be the guy there. I have no clue why they would want to pick up another running back outside of the fact that I do believe I heard somewhere that the GM for the Browns was the GM for the Kansas City Chiefs when they decided to draft Kareem Hunt. So maybe there's a relationship there.
Okay.
I don't know, but this seems to sink Chubb because Hunt feels like the more complete back. He feels like once he's back, he's the guy they're going to want taking the reps.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so in the opposite end on this whole Kareem Hunt spectrum. I look at it, I don't understand it from a different standpoint. I'm looking at it like, okay, Kareem Hunt was fantastic on a great team and a great offense. Nick Chubb turned an offense around, and this is just my thought process. Nick Chubb was able to take. Well, Nick Chubb came in and you could really see the difference between him and Carlos Hyde.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then, but with the Chiefs, first let me say this. No way am I saying Damian Williams and Kareem Hunt are anywhere near the same talent. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But when Damian Williams got in for the Chiefs, they didn't really take much of a step back. And, of course, Patrick Mahomes has a lot to do with that and all the other weapons. But I'm saying you could really tell.
You could say the same thing about Le'Veon Bell and James Conner. Okay, they still had a pretty good run game, but we're not going to say James Conner's on the same level as Le'Veon Bell, are we?
No, of course. And that's what I'm getting at. What I'm saying all that to say this, we could go the same thing with Le'Veon, and we could see with Kareem Hunt coming to a different team, a team with an offense is not as prolific, not as high-powered, we'll be able to see, okay, what does he do then? Is he still going to be our top 5 running back, our top, and then, of course, you have the suspension, things like that with him.
Yeah.
So Nick Chubb, yes, he takes a hit. He takes a hit from me, but he doesn't. I'm not just throwing him down the board or thinking to myself, well, as soon as Hunt's ready, Chubb's probably done.
Well, I was ready to give, and the reason I brought him up is because I was in trade talks for him right before this came down, and I was pretty close to giving what would be the equivalent of 2 first-rounders for Nick Chubb. And I'm glad I didn't now because you don't know. Even if Kareem Hunt comes in and they're saying, okay, we're not going to give you they have to get him on the field. This has to be a situation where he's going to touch the ball way too much to be comfortable with in this situation. Almost like what we're kind of seeing in L.A., where if they decide to re-sign C.J. Anderson, we may talk about this guy later. He's not on my list, but maybe he's on yours. He may touch the ball 10 times, 12 times a game, and now you're talking about instead of, Todd Gurley being the number 1 running back, maybe he's number 5 or number 6 because other guys are touching. So, I don't know. Where would you draft him redraft? I had him top of the 2nd round, maybe even slide into the 1st if you're desperate for a running back and they're all gone. Late 2nd for me now, the early 3rd.
Right. Absolutely. We had them in the same spot before the news, and I think they were right on the same spot now with the news. You can't. I can't see myself looking at Chubb anywhere near the 1st round now, and then it would be another one of those, in the 2nd round. What did I draft in the 1st, and what do I believe is going to be there? It's more of a judgment call now with Chubb. And you're gonna, like you said, you're gonna see that. You might see a lot of games where Chubb is taking the quote unquote first snaps with the team.
Yeah.
But you'll see a lot of Hunt possibly out carrying or out, not out receiving, but out touching, you know.
Or the dreaded game flow by the coach.
Right,
I'm going to go with the hot hand.
Like, right,
God,
come on.
I hate
exactly.
you. Well, let's talk about it real quickly. Take a step back. We were talking about Mark Ingram. Last year, Mark Ingram, with the suspension, was being like drafted in the 5th or 6th round. Where do you see him going next year? I mean, you still see him as that kind of 5th, 6th round kind of a guy, or where would you draft Mark Ingram?
Yeah, I think for me, he can creep into the 4th round for me if I'm drafting, and it's solely because of the fact we don't know where he's going to go, and I'm looking at that as potential. I'm not looking at his free agency is more so as I'm excited as opposed to stay away, and the reason for that is there's so many, you know, he could go, and of course I'm spitballing, but he could go to the Ravens and possibly be the number one there in a run heavy offense, or it's just different places that he could land, but he's not nowhere he goes makes me, you know, super excited or anything like that. So he's still around between 4 and 6 for me to look at.
All right, and still the same thing if he's with New Orleans, still around 4 to 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Good. What's your number 2 guy?
Yeah, number 2, Will Fuller.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, great explosive player. I think that when he's on the field, it speaks for itself. He's he played 7 games last year and had 503 yards and 4 touchdowns. He was averaging 72 yards a game on 32 receptions. I mean, he does phenomenal when he plays. That's the issue. Like when he's on the field, and the worst part about the Will Fuller is he's not only injury prone. When he gets injured, he's done. It's like every time he gets hurt, it's these big
It's not a quick
injuries. Right? Yeah, it's never just I'm hurt, I'll be back in a couple. No, it's we're shutting you down. So it hurts him. He should be, in my opinion, a top, you know, drafted in potentially top 3 rounds with what he does with DeAndre Hopkins on the field opposite of him, and the offense just flows better when Fuller's there as another threat. And you have, like I said, you have the potential for big play, you know, the big play potential. You might not get your 80, 90 catches or what have you, but you're going to get a bunch of yards, a couple touchdowns here and there. So it's kind of, he's an iffy guy to look at because and he's only 23, 24, is a young guy with great speed. He ran a 4.3 before the injury. So, and you can't teach speed, but it's just the injuries are just so great. It's hard to scale where to get them.
See, Will Fuller is one of those guys that I typically just stay away from regardless. I just feel like, and I'm looking at his stats here. I mean, I don't know, man. It's like he's so touchdown dependent. Like he scored 4 touchdowns out of the 7 games he played last year. And here's some of the reception totals. 8 receptions first game, excellent. 5, 4, 2, 2, 6, 5. He's never going to be that guy that's going to rack up reception. So if it's not a big play, and don't get me wrong, I mean, some people that's just their game. We see that a lot with Deshaun Jackson, but you see the up and down with Deshaun Jackson.
Right,
now, Will Fuller seems to be maybe even a little better than that, but I don't know, man. Yeah, he kind of perplexes me as well. He was a guy that I just kind of stayed away from, and probably a guy I'm staying away from again. Someone that I believe in one of our leagues last year got him around the 5th-ish round, somewhere in that range, and that's way too rich for me for a guy that I know is.
Me too.
He has to catch a bomb to be overly relevant. I mean, I don't know. So where are you thinking? Because I mean, obviously you brought him up, so he's on your mind. What do you think he's worth in Dynasty, and where would you draft him in redraft?
Well, honestly, for me, I'm not huge on Will Fuller either. Okay. He was just a guy when we were going through. I know people like him, and people are higher on him, and I understand why. I get the reason. Because he's definitely a guy that can win. He can win you a week.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's not but you can't depend on that. But you can definitely luck up, put him in, and he's going to go out there and get you 26 points. So, but yeah, it's for me to even take a glance, and again, I'm with you. I'm probably not, it's a guy I'm just skipping over. But for me to even take a glance, it's got to be 7, 8 rounds for me. I'm
wide receiver
looking at
3, flex.
Yeah.
That's
for me.
Okay. All right. Cool deal. My number 2 guy here is Aaron Jones. He's being talked up right now. Did I snipe you?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you did.
first snipe of the off season. He's being talked up right now. People are kind of going crazy. I have Aaron Jones on both of my dynasty teams, and I've had offers for him. And on one end, I'm like, no. I get my boy. On the other end, I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen with him.
Right.
Should I field some of these offers? But I think he feels like a top 10 back if healthy and given the opportunity. He can catch. His pass blocking got better as we've seen last year. He definitely is the best running back on Green Bay, but now you got new coaching staff coming, and it just feels like he may not be given the job just to write off. It may still be kind of, backfilled by committee until they see Jamal Williams run for 3.5 yards a carry and then say, okay, we got to get Aaron Jones on the field. I mean, how do you feel, since you had him on your list, how do you feel about Aaron Jones going into next year?
Yeah, it's crazy because I actually wrote down Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. Trying to figure out how to look at either one of them because of what you said. I agree with you. I think with the new coaching staff coming in, they've seen Aaron Jones' body of work, and they've seen that Jamal Williams is a competent back. And I think they're going to go in with the mindset of go win it. Like neither one of you are the guy, go win it. I do think though, Aaron, I don't know how much say-so Aaron Rodgers is going to have with the new coaching staff because we know he kind of ran it last year, but he does like Aaron Jones. And whether it's because they have the same first name, I don't know. But he likes Aaron Jones. He likes Aaron Jones over Jamal. But yeah, it's tough. I think for me, actually I know for me, I'm still taking Aaron Jones. I'm taking him rather high. For me, he's a top 3 round back for me.
Oh wow.
I would take him in the first 3 rounds. But I'm definitely.
That's rich, man.
He's one of those.
That's. I was thinking 4th. Third round.
The way I've got it when I'm in the 3rd round, who I'm looking at in 3rd round, I feel like if I'm looking at running backs, you're looking at your Aaron Jones. I think Derrick Henry's stock is pretty high right now, so I think he'll be around round 3. Fournette, I feel like will be around round 3 this year. So you're looking at those type of guys, and I think out of that, I'm gonna want to go. If I'm getting a running back that in round 3, I think Aaron Jones is gonna be the direction I want to go.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really hoping. Obviously, I have him in my dynasty. I'm hoping he has a great year. Round 4 last year for running backs was kind of that area where you got that running back 2 with maybe some questions. That's where your Derrick Henry went. That's where eventually your Lamar Millers went. That's where your Mark Ingram went. Yeah, I was thinking more around 4, but you're right. He probably won't be there. He's being talked up like he is going to be, just planted in as a starter. And I don't think it's that clear cut. But here's hoping because he does have a lot of talent. And then I think I was joking with you when we were talking. I heard someone say, Aaron Rodgers is getting older, and they really got to make a push for his last few years of playing. Don't be surprised if Le'Veon Bell goes there. And I was like, stop it. Stop.
Don't do that. Stop talking
Stop
to me.
talking about that.
Do you, I want to ask you real quick, if you do, since you are an owner of Aaron Jones and you do have these, these questions around him, do you believe that Jamal Williams is a must-own handcuff?
Yeah, I mean, that was my thought process even going into last year. Not so much this year. I think we've seen a separation as a pure offensive talent. We've seen a separation between the two. But Jamal Williams, as you said, is a competent back. He's an all-around back. He can block. He's not a slub in the passing game. He can catch. And given a hole, he will run through it. Now, he may not create a whole lot. He's not a burner, you know. He's not going to juke you out your shoes or anything, but he's a competent, okay running back, and especially with a pass-happy team, you want a guy that could block. So, yes, I would definitely want the two, especially with Aaron Jones having the injury history. You want the guy that's going to step in and right behind him. So in one of my leagues, I was able to get them both. The other one, I was not. I wasn't so fortunate. And the guy who has Jamal Williams is he don't even show up half the time, and it's hard. It's going to be hard to get him. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah. I'm interested in seeing what happens with him. But anyhow, who's the third guy, man?
Number 3, Gus Edwards for me. With the Ravens, I think that we saw. First of all, the Ravens are
stay away.
Like we talk about it. They're a run-heavy team. He came in. He played 11 games, had 137 rushes, 718 yards in 11 games, 2 touchdowns. He doesn't catch the ball much.
At all.
It's going to be open. Yeah, actually at all. Yeah, let me rephrase it. He doesn't catch the ball. They don't even try to throw it to him. And it will be opened up. They're moving on from I believe they'll move on from Alex Collins. I think he's going to be a free agent. It's just going to be Gus and Kenneth unless they
think that's the
make
problem.
A free agent sign.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think they've liked Dixon for a long time. They just have not been able to get this dude on the field. And he came out, even though both of these guys kind of look like, doggone, what's the bus's name? Jerome
Bettis.
Jerome Bettis to me. Both of them look kind of sick. But, I mean, the boy can move. He's a pretty good running back. I don't know. I think they want Dixon to carry more of the load. It's going to be too hard to call. I mean, I wouldn't draft either one of them, honestly. That's my opinion on it. But what are you thinking?
Yeah. Well, I had to look at it. He's late for me, without obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But with the potential, I mean, he's potentially an RB1 for his team. And it's hard to pass up a starting running back.
Here's the question. Let's go back to last year, like I said, about Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. There were some questions. You had no clue. Let's say Baltimore does not pick up a running back in free agency. They don't draft anybody. That means they got the guy in-house they want. Who are you picking first? Some drafts, Jamal Williams went first because Aaron Jones was going to be suspended for a couple of games, and we knew it was going to take a few games for him to take over. Some drafts, in my draft, I picked Aaron Jones up in like the 7th roundish, and then round 10, I came back and got Jamal Williams. And that's the one I have them both. So who are you picking? This is probably that same situation. If you want to dabble in that backfield, assuming they don't pick up Mark Ingram or somebody, you got to pick both of them. And who are you picking first?
I'm gonna go Dixon.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go Dixon, and it's the pass catching ability, and it's what you said. They love Dixon. They have done everything they could. Even last year, before Dixon got hurt, he was supposed to start. I mean, and so. Yeah, Dixon is who they want to be the guy. It seems like Gus and Lamar play better together, but at the end of the day, if Dixon's who they want, Dixon's who they want.
Right. Yeah, I think if you want to dabble there, you better pick both of them up. And I'm not even quite sure to tell you where to begin. I wouldn't. Yeah. I don't think I would look at that before 8th or 9th round.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's where I am, and it's really just one of those. For me, it would be I'm drafting, and then 9, 10 round, I'm looking. Oh, he's still there. Yeah. He could be a RB1. Sure, I'll get or for his team. Right. I'll grab him. It's one of those.
Absolutely, good deal. My third guy is Mike Williams. Look, we've seen the flash. Okay,
mm-hmm.
Did I hit you again?
No.
Okay, good. We've seen the flash. We've seen the talent. We've seen the potential. Maybe it's more than potential. Potential is, somebody has the ability to do something but hasn't done it. We've seen him do it, but he's still a wide receiver 2 on his team, and they have Melvin Gordon, and they have Keenan Allen, and they have Austin Eckler, and they have Hunter Henry coming back. What are you going to do with Mike Williams? I've tried to get him in trades. He's being held on to tighter than I don't even know what. But are you comfortable with Mike Williams being your number 2 wide receiver? I mean, that's how you're going to have to draft him to get him, it feels like right now. You're going to have to draft him as number 2 receiver.
Yeah, it does. That's exactly what it is. I feel like people are, they're more willing to trade A.J. Green before they'll trade Mike Williams right now. Yeah, it's crazy. No, I'm not comfortable with Mike Williams as my wide receiver 2. If I have him on my team, I'm definitely happy. But I need someone else to fill that void for wide receiver 2. And it's like you said, all those weapons. And we saw him being used more last year, yes. But he's still going to be this touchdown-dependent big threat guy. Like, that's just what he's going to end up being at the end of the day. And I need more from my wide receiver, too.
Yeah, I think we're probably very opposite a lot of the experts out there, man. I've listened to quite a few podcasts. So, I listen and I read articles, and they feel like Mike Williams can take that step. Even though he might be the number 2 guy, it may be a situation like you have in Pittsburgh where you got 2 guys that can get 1,000 yards, and certainly he has the talent to do it. But I think there's just way too much around him for him to reach that plateau. And I like his potential. I like his talent, but I just can't. Even the number 3, if let's say you have a 3 receiver league or something like that, even number 3 to me, he's too up and down. I think you're going to get some weeks with 2 catches and some weeks with 8 catches. And again, I mean, you can say that about just about any receiver out there, but I mean, I just don't know. I just don't know about him. I couldn't. I think you're going to have to draft him round 5 or round 6, somewhere around there to get him. And I'm not. I'm staying away.
Yeah, there's better receivers, not necessarily talent, but in better positions. I'll put it like that. You got receivers in better positions, better teams that you can trust more. So yeah, I'm with you.
All right, man. So who's your second guy?
Next for me is Tariq. Fourth guy, Tariq Cohen. For me, he is. He came on the scene last year. I mean, and I say that because he was outrageous last year. I mean, the year before he did. He was a guy. You knew of him. But this past year, it's like every time the Bears play, Cohen is just phenomenal. He's going crazy, and Jordan Howard is sitting back and just kind of resting. I don't know if he's waiting for this year or what. But I went back and I looked through Tariq Cohen's stats because just looking at fantasy, it looks like this seems like a guy that should be drafted round 2, 3. I mean, he should be drafted very high.
He was half point PPR running back 13, I believe. So he was. Maybe no, he may have dropped to 14 because Derrick Henry. The site I'm looking at right now only has through week 16 for some reason, but Derrick Henry had a pretty good game the last game. He may have dropped to 14, but he was a top 15 running back that you probably in most situations got pretty late.
Yeah, absolutely. So and so I went and looked at his stats. He had 99 rushes for 444 yards and 3 touchdowns. Not anything out, crazy that you want from an RB1 or 2. But he had 71 receptions on 725 yards with 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, when looking at fantasy, you're looking at it, he's getting you 18, 19 points. And I think the big thing for me with Tariq Cohen, not only was, yes, he was getting all these points, but what made it even more like, what's the word? Made it even more of a wow factor is because of the fact that he's not supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
That's what I think has caught my attention because I actually was thinking about, man, I got to get Cohen early next year. This dude's already, he's crazy. But then when I go back and look, it's like, is he really crazy? If I drafted him.
I am not the guy that says, you know what, I really, really like the off-speed running back. I like the pass catching. I've always stayed away. When I get my running backs, I want the guy that can do both. I've always been that way. I want the guy that's going to get the 15 carries a game, not going to touch the ball 6 times a game. But I'm a lot more comfortable with Tariq Cohen this year, man. I can go with him as my number 3 back or my top flex. I could see myself drafting him in the top 6 rounds. Before, it wouldn't have happened. I can definitely
No,
pick him up
absolutely not.
5th or 6th round. Maybe even 4th, depending on how the draft goes. If I'm going running back heavy, if I'm going running back first, wide receiver, running back second, running back first, wide receiver second, running back third, running back fourth, I could pick Cohen up in the 4th round and feel pretty good about it.
Mm. Okay, well then, since you said that, let me ask you this: if you are drafting, you're looking through, would you take James White over Cohen, or are you taking Cohen?
I'm Good question.
Because I still think even this year, well, I mean, I'm pretty positive James White's going to be cheaper.
Yeah, he is. I just kicked myself for not picking him. He was around like 11th to 12th round last year. I mean, you could get him super late. It won't happen this year, but I still think you're probably looking at round 8 for White, somewhere around there, around 7. I'll probably go Cohen. I just like Cohen's situation a little bit better. I think they like him a whole lot in Chicago. They obviously love James White in New England, but you got that 3-headed monster. Not to mention that is it Gillisley? It's not Gillisley. It's was it Hill? Whoever. There was another guy.
Yeah, Jeremy Hill.
Jeremy Hill. Yeah, in New England that they surprisingly didn't cut as soon as he got hurt. New England's typically pretty cutthroat.
Get out of here. If you can't help it, get out.
Right, we don't need you. You're done. So, but I mean, they may actually bring him back. So you may have 4 running backs now. I think the emergence of I'm having one of those senior moments. Sony Michel showing that he can shoulder the load, even short down yards, and knowing the relationship between Burkhead and the coach. They love him. I don't think they're letting him go. They probably don't need help. So you're looking at 3 running backs there. Very likely they may still keep him for a short yardage or a goal line. Who knows? I just like Tariq Cohen's opportunity a whole lot, and especially since knowing Howard does not fit into the offense in Chicago the way that they would like, the way a Kareem Hunt would. He's going to continue to get that pass catching, and when he gets the ball, he's almost like Tariq Hill, like he's dynamic with the ball in his hand. So I like him a lot. I would pick him 5th round all day if that's how my draft was falling.
Okay, yeah, I can see it. I like it.
I would have laughed at that last year. No way. But this year,
no. Yeah. Absolutely. If somebody would have picked Cohen that early, I would have been like, so you are giving up.
Right, you're quitting already. Right. Anyway, good deal, man. My number, I think I may have more than
4.
Yeah. I did one extra, but it's okay. Is Jerick McKinnon. He was supposed to be the new hotness in San Francisco. There was a lot of debate about what he was going to do. A lot of people who, followed Minnesota said, listen, he has some talent, but he's not going to be able to do it for you. And I'm thinking to myself, he's never really gotten the chance. He's supposed to be an athletic freak. I mean, as far as his strength for his size and spark score and all this great stuff. And he was the new toy for Shanahan. He was that, Devonta Freeman kind of remake, and you just thought to yourself, even if he isn't going to give you insane numbers, would it have been beyond the pale of possibility? I mean, without a shadow of doubt, you're thinking he's at least getting 800 yards on the ground, at least, and 500 or 600 yards passing and through the air.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely.
14.
I would chalk that up.
Yeah, 13 or 1,400 yards, all-purpose, 7 or 8 touchdowns. I'll take that as my number 2 RB all day.
Absolutely.
Before he got hurt. And now you have Breida, you have Mostert there that I think they like a lot as well. Perhaps
Jeffrey Wilson
looked all right. You got, AB maybe going over to and AB's going to soak up some targets, but maybe he gets on the phone, calls his boy Lev up, says, "Hey, meet me in San Francisco." You know what I mean?
It's nice over here.
It's nice.
Weather's nice over here.
The sun is out. I mean, come on. It looks a lot better than Pittsburgh, bro. There's no snow over here.
Right.
San Francisco got money. Let's do this. So I mean, how do you? I don't know. I don't know what, because I would have picked him third round. He was going third round. I would have been happy to pick up Jerick McKinnon third round last year. This year, he's going to drop like a stone. He may be outside.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, you got Breida. Let's minus everybody else out. Breida showed that he's a beast when he's healthy. He has to get the ball. He has to get the ball. So where would you draft McKinnon? And also, let's talk about Dynasty. If you could trade for him, would you give up a first round for McKinnon?
No, I'm not giving up a first round for McKinnon. And that's just, and it goes farther than him being injured when he was in Minnesota, him getting this big injury. It goes to one thing. I think maybe you said it, but I know we talked about it in your league when we were drafting last year. McKinnon, I believe, went in round 2 in your league. I'm pretty sure, but
going pretty high.
But we were talking about it. Everybody was like, McKinnon's going to be yada yada. I don't know if it was you or somebody, but somebody said, McKinnon's little. And he hasn't been the bell cow. And is he going to be able to handle all of that load? And this year was supposed to be our time to see it. We didn't get to see he got hurt.
Yeah.
So I can't give up a first round for those reasons. And if I'm drafting McKinnon, he's going to have to go, let me see my draft sheet here. I'd take him. Yeah, I've got him early round 6, late round 5. And I'm actually, for me, him and Breida are right next to each other for me.
Yeah.
And I would, on it personally, I wouldn't be upset if somebody took Breida over McKinnon.
Wow.
When you're looking at it, just because we don't know how McKinnon's going to come back, and Breida looks really, really good.
Yeah.
Breida also suffered with injuries as well, but
I'd probably still take McKinnon ahead of Breida, but it's, like you said, really close. And when you have 2 running backs right there together, they're going to vulture each other at the very least. A good comparison, not so much talent-wise or the way they're used, but in that range would be the Tariq Cohen. Who would you be more comfortable with, McKinnon or Tariq Cohen?
McKinnon or Cohen? Oh, that's a great question. God, man, I don't want to say it, but I think you have to go. I would have to go with Cohen. I don't want to say that, but I would have to go with Cohen, and for all the reasons you listed when we just talked about the Cohen argument. Just his possibility of getting all the catches out of the backfield, and his role is 100% solidified. Right. It's not changing. That's their playmaker on that team.
Yeah, I feel like what you're going to get out of Cohen. You can feel a lot. Again, sometimes when you're drafting, you are drafting for the sure thing. You are drafting for, hey, I know what I'm going to get. Now, I feel like McKinnon has worlds more upside as far as what he could possibly do throughout the season.
Yeah.
I mean, he can end up being clear-cut number 1, getting all the touches, and end up with 1,500 yards, rushing and 500 yards receiving. I mean, that's not without something that you could possibly question, or it's not without outside of no possibility could possibly happen for him. So you're getting a lot more upside with McKinnon, but again, you got that question of a non-defined role. He could not play. I mean, he could be behind Breida on the depth chart. So yeah, I definitely can. If you're looking for a safe pick, I would probably pick Cohen ahead of him as well.
Definitely.
All right, man. Who's your?
And then we run in.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We could possibly run into the dreadful hot hand like we talked about in the Brown situation. Right. So yeah, right. Just if. Number 5 for me, my guy Doug Baldwin. For these nice 10 passes a game Seattle Seahawks we got.
3 touchdowns, 10 passes. I'm doing.
But Baldwin's coming back. I don't know. He said his knee was fine, but like you also said at the beginning of the year that your knee was not going to be 100%. Like you told us that, but then you said it's good. Right. So that's. And he's 30. I think he might be 31. I saw 30, but I don't know. He's 30, 31 around there. up in age. He played 13 games last year, 50 catches, 618 yards, 3 touchdowns, but run first and a run heavy offense, first and foremost. Like we joke on this show.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson will throw a couple passes, have a good game, what have you. He was going as early as round 2, round 3, around the AJ Greens, around your Stephen Diggs. That's where he was going last year, and I will not even think to draft him anywhere near there.
Not even last year for me. I was one of the ones banging the drum, and it kind of, both the guys kind of fell off the bus here this year. One because of circumstance, in my opinion, the other because of injury. But I was banging the drum last year that you can get the same production. And I went to a couple, we met on a site there where we do, fantasy talk or whatnot, fantasy chat on the site. You get the same production out of Golden Tate, and you get Golden Tate in round 5. Why are you picking up Doug Baldwin in round 2? And I put them side by side, very similar in age. Golden Tate, for a number of years with Detroit, was averaging 90 receptions a year, 1,000 yards a year. The only thing was his touchdowns were a little bit less, more like 4 or 5 touchdowns compared to Doug Baldwin, who can sometimes get up there around the 9 or 10 range. But if I can get the same receptions and yardage 3 rounds later, why am I picking up Doug Baldwin in round 2? So I'm with you. And now he has to be way lower. He's probably round 4.
Yeah. Oh no. There's just so many people. It's just a lot of people. I would. You have to look at it. You have to really consider. Like when you're looking at it now, do you take DJ Moore or Doug Baldwin? I think you have to really think it. At one point, you're not thinking about that. It's Doug Baldwin, but now you have to think about that. DJ Moore's in a good position, especially if Cam is going to play. And you run into these things, and Doug Baldwin is just taking a dip, and he has to.
And I would ask that. Yeah, that's a great question between the two. I'd probably, if Cam comes out of training camp healthy and he's all go and smiles and joking around and dabbing and all the rest of that great stuff, I'd probably go DJ Moore. I don't know what they're going to do with Devin Funchess, but you could see that was a huge drop-off at the end of the year, maybe even half the season, with Devin Funchess not being able to do anything in that offense. And that may have something to do with Cam Newton's arm. But,
Hey, real quick. I believe that we discussed that this was a family-friendly show.
Sure.
And you are over here cursing with this Devin Funchess nonsense. And I would appreciate, I think our listeners would appreciate, if you cleaned your mouth, all right? And just keep it clean.
No, it's good. No, I'm not talking about Devin Funchess in a way of a player. I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't disrespect you and your time like that. Okay? No, we know he doesn't belong on this show. He belongs on we know exactly what to do with this player show, and that's not draft him. I get it. No, I was saying, though, I'm not sure what's going to happen with him. Obviously, the targets have to go somewhere if they move on from Devin Funchess, and there's been some talk that he may move on to a different team. So, he takes a huge jump forward if Funchess is gone, and then, in my opinion, would be a step above Doug Baldwin because Baldwin's just in this antiquated offense that's working. It's working. This wing T from 1940 is working. And they may not stop it. I don't know. All right, man. So let's go ahead and roll. I got 2 more guys. We'll talk about one of them quickly. And then the last guy, Amari Cooper. It's not the talent. We know he's the number 1 in Dallas. The question to me is, are you comfortable with him as your number 1 receiver? He's my number 1 guy. You're going to have to draft him that way.
Yeah, I know it. I know, unfortunately, you are, but I will pass. I will pass.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with him either. I couldn't possibly draft him in the second round. Last year when I was drafting, I typically, unless I'm in a really bad position and everybody I'm okay with is gone, I go running back, wide receiver. If I had to pick Amari Cooper in the second round as my wide receiver, I think I would just I don't know.
Running back, running back.
Yeah, there you go. I'm passing, going running back, and I'd rather go, I don't even know. Maybe 8. I think Adrian's still probably second round, but somebody else. Third round is my number one receiver because I don't think there's going to be that. I don't know. Don't know. I would love to get him in the third round. I think that would be good. Mid-third round would be good. But if you have to draft him in the second round, I'm just not doing it. But people are going to do it this year off of half a season, half of which was horrible. The other half was great. He had some great games. There's like no in between. There was no 6 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. It was like 3 touchdowns and 10 catches or 2. So I don't know.
Pick your poison.
Right. Absolutely. So, yeah, I'm thinking third round for him. I'm not comfortable second round with him as my number one receiver. Okay. You sound like the same thing for you. Do you have anybody else, man?
No.
All right. Last guy, and we'll go ahead and get out of here. We kind of touched on him a little bit earlier, was Damian Williams. You're going to have to draft him in the second round, very likely, and there's just too many question marks surrounding him, especially if you're drafting early. Kansas City they're not tied to this guy. They signed him to an extension, but much like in the footballers kind of touched on this last year with Alex Collins, they didn't give him a whole bunch of money. So it would be nothing for them to go out there and draft a running back that's more of because still Damian Williams is not a big guy. We kind of same situation, with Jerick McKinnon. Not a huge guy. Is he the guy they want to be the every down back? He's shown he could do it, but who's the backup? Who do we have that's going to complement him? I could see them drafting a running back.
Yeah. No, I could too. I can definitely see them drafting a running back. I can see them. I mean, we've got some good potential free agents out there, and I'm not going to name drop any because I definitely don't. I don't know, and whoever it is, I want them. In the Chiefs offense, I need them. But I don't think they go into next year. A lot of people are excited about Damian Williams with good reason. I mean, he looks good, but I don't think he goes. I don't think the Chiefs
all alone by himself as this is the guy for right. No, I mean, I think and I took a big step back on this guy because of the year he had in Atlanta. But imagine Tevin Coleman there with the Kansas City. To me, that's almost a perfect fit, and I would get really excited about Tevin Coleman in that offense.
Yeah, I would too. Even like you said, even though we kind of, we both kind of were like, because we were both excited for him, going into his contract year, and then he didn't show much, and of course, there's a bunch of reasons why, injuries and what have you. But if he were to go to the Chiefs, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, listen, we had a good time, had a lot of fun. Hopefully, we cleared some things up. Hopefully, you take heed of some of these guys who may be going a little bit too early. Take a step back, go with someone a little bit more solid for your team. But listen, we're going to be doing some great things coming up. I'm going to be talking about some rookies. I know that's going to be a hot topic coming up. So please come back and continue to visit with us. And I want to end the show as always. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Dave, do you have anything else for the people?
Enjoy your off season. Enjoy the draft. Enjoy your AAF. Your good football. Look there. Trent Richardson's playing. You want to live some Alabama dreams.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wish Tim Tebow would accept it. I wish he would have came back out, man, and played some football again.
Absolutely.
Man. I don't know.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah. But all right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Thank you so much. Come back and visit with us again. Visit us on Facebook and Instagram. Like, comment, and subscribe. Have a good week.
Have a good day.